Okay, so like I said, anybody who's watching the video later on, prerequisites, make sure you have PostgreSQL installed, or PostgreSQL, make sure it's pre-installed on your system. You preferably want to access it by using this command. If you don't have the command, make sure it's installed. Other than that, we should have everything else we need. This is the only external item, non-JavaScript item we need. So, we're going to create a microservice architecture from bring up. Let me just quickly bring back up actually mine, so we're going to see it again. Where is mine? Let me pull it up quick. Go here. Click on that. So let me bring this one back over. And so here is the microservice that we built last time. I haven't cleaned it up yet, so I'll definitely have to clean it up a little more. But to start, like we said before, we might want to start with a couple microservices in the beginning. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're just going to create, hopefully with enough time, 2 microservices. We want to create our initial gateway and our authorization microservice, which is going to handle both users and profiles. And so we want to make sure that we have this system working, and then we have a system that allows someone else to connect through here, ping this, and get the data back, and be able to return that information back to the browser. So that's what we're going to work on today. Setting up those 2 items. All right. So to start, we actually need a folder for each microservice. So we have our main folder, which is our, for me, it's the microservice walkthrough folder. But now we're going to need an mkdir gateway. I'm also going to do auth as well. So I'm going to have a gateway server and the auth server. So I'm going to create 2 folders. One for gateway and one for auth. Make sense? And the first thing we'll do is just create the basic default express code that will get those 2 up and running. They're not going to do anything really yet, but let's get them up and running. So I'm going to first start with the gateway.
So Cliff, if Postgres is not installed right now, what should we do?
At least do pgadmin, so you can do the graphical interface.
You said PGM, what's that?
pgadmin.
Oh, pgadmin?
Yeah, I would recommend at least installing that so you have the visual graphical user interface for Windows. So you can at least try to follow along today. Worst case scenario, if we can't follow along, what we can do is still do the video recording, allow you guys to then watch it later on to do the Postgres stuff. So you'll be able to do a lot of things without it, and be able to watch the video later on once we can figure out the Postgres stuff for Windows. And we can take some time one-on-one with each other to figure out what's going on with Postgres. If I have to boot up my my Windows computer, I will do so. And try to remember how to get it up and running. So that'll
just not be able to install something through the web browser?
Well, pgadmin uses the web browser. It's still an installed application. So you still have to install pgadmin, but it is still something you could use.
It's like almost done, but it's just not.
Oh, yeah, give it time. We're not doing Postgres for a little bit. We got time.
All right, so just open Visual.
I'm using Visual Studio Code. Use the editor of your preference. So yeah, in Visual Studio Code, Control Shift tilde to open that up. I'm going to make these a little bigger so it's easier to see. I can get rid of the Welcome tab. I'm going to get rid of that thing. I don't need the sidebar. Don't need it. Unused. So right here from the terminal, I'm not going to do too many questions of the standard JavaScript. You guys are should be pretty familiar with JavaScript, so I'm going to do a lot more of just, you should know this. If I do a command that you don't recognize though, please stop me and let me know. I'm not going to do too many of the JavaScript questions that I would do with like the intro class. So we'll do with npm init. So I still use npm init, but I've been using yarn more for actually getting the packages. So I'm actually going to be able to showcase some yarn. So if anybody who's been curious about yarn, I want to use it because it seems like npm and Python are having some issues with Mac right now. npm wants to use Python 2. Mac doesn't like Python 2 anymore. So npm init. Gateway works for me. Version 1, description, gateway for pmern, or mpern project. Entry point. Now, I actually do not like index.js because that's not what this is. This isn't a website. This isn't a web page. So I always change it to server.js. That is an entry point that makes more sense to me since this is starting a server. So personal preference index.js is fine. Just make sure you remember what your entry point is. When you do your npm start command, it's going to look for your entry point file. So I'm going to use server.js. No test command. Repo will fill in later. Keywords fine. Author. Do that. And good. Standard stuff there. Nice and simple. Now I'm going to do the packages that the gateway needs that I can think of. So all I can think of right now that I would probably need is Express right now. Express and cores. We'll start with that. Whoops. Yarn. Add. And so like I said, I'm going to try yarn. If you don't have yarn, just do npm I. Yarn add is identical to npm I. Everything else is the same. So that's it. We're just going to add these two packages for now. We're going to add any others later. What's that?
npm-I. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yarn add is the exact same thing as npm I. That's it. Cores. Cores. So really, yeah, that's just cores. That cross-origin stuff, you don't want to deal with that, so just make it easy and add that in. That's going to save you from that. So, dealing with cores issues. So, cores.
So the only commands you've given are npmi, and you said cores.
No, hold on. So npm init, we did that one, right?
npm init first.
Yep.
And npmi is something different.
And no, npmi is your default way of installing if you don't have yarn installed, if you don't have the yarn package manager. So yarn is a alternative to npm. You might have it, but if you don't, whenever you see me do yarn add, you just do npm I. Everything after it is the same.
All right, so the second one is.
Yeah, I don't have yarn.
Yeah. So again, when you see yarn add, you just want to do npm I. You don't have to do @-I, just I is all you need. We're adding the two packages, Express and cores. Just save myself for to deal with this later. Let's also bring in Axios just to make my life easier, because we know that this gateway is going to make external API calls. This gateway is going to add other things as well. Don't ask too many questions, but does anyone know why I'm not going to just use fetch? Why do I bring in Axios? Why not just use fetch? Does anyone actually know?
Because it's easier to use.
I think so, personally, but there's another reason. Does anyone actually know?
Between Axios and
Fetch. No, fetch.
Process and fetch you don't want to have to do.
So, everyone's close. Fetch is actually only built into the browser JavaScript. It's not actually a node package. It's a browser package. So it's built into the browser library. So if you want to use fetch, you actually have to bring it in as well, just like you have to bring in Axios by doing node-fetch. So if you ask me, I'm just going to use Axios in that case. If I have to bring in fetch, I'm just going to bring in Axios instead. And then that's more for just my personal familiarity with Axios more. I just think it runs a little better. It's a little easier to implement. It might be a bigger package, but kind of the reason we used fetch in a lot of the front-end stuff is because it's already there. Then we don't have to bring in another package. It's already there. Might as well use it. Since it's not there, I'm going to use the one I think runs better, so I'm going to bring in Axios. So those are the three tools we're going to need for the gateway. Express, cores, and Axios. Sound good? I'm going to bring those in. And just to confirm, if I code package, not cod, code package.json, we'll see it looks the same. And mine looks just the same as yours would, even if you use npm I. It just does this. The only difference I have between the two is that I have a yarn lock and you have a package JSON lock. That's the only difference. All right? Cool. So now I'm going to do code server.js, our entry point. And now I'm going to challenge you to do a simple, standard, boilerplate Express server. We're going to let's use port 6000 just to make a different port than what you've used before. So I'm going to code it, but let's see. I wonder if any of you are willing to challenge yourself to see if you can create a simple, standard Express system quicker than me. Want to try it?
Sure.
Try it. All right, I'm going to start now. Done. If anyone gets stuck and isn't sure what they're typing, feel free to take a look at mine. Only 7 lines of code is all you need for this to work. That is it. I'll wait a couple minutes to let people catch up. Make sure that this works. Make sure you do run it once so that you do make sure it does run without crashing. So everybody get a couple minutes so that you can catch up to this point, and then we'll kind of just touch base on quick on what some of these things do. Just make sure everyone's on the same page of what's happening. Anyone need a little more time? I'm trying to see if anyone's still looking at their screen like they're typing to see if anyone's still going along. I don't hear any typing, but I also don't know if certain people are muted. Does anyone need any more time?
Yes.
All right. So while you're typing it, I'll actually review some of the lines too. So as we know, we bring in the Express, we create the instance of it, we bring in cores, and we just tell it to use it. Nice and simple. We don't want to add any sort of core specialty systems, like any sort of restrictions or anything like that. We want to allow access from any other origin. So cores is all about making sure that where the request is coming from to see if it's part of the same domain or a different domain. So yahoo.com, if I try to ping yahoo.com, they can use cores to say, hey, you're not a request from yahoo.com, so I'm going to deny you because you're from a different origin than me. So that's kind of the basic use of cores. By just doing cores with nothing in here, we're just saying, hey, let the request come in from any origin. It doesn't have to be from the same domain as me. That's all we're doing. All right. Right here, we're just setting it up that whenever we have something come in through the system to recognize a content type of JSON and convert it to a JavaScript object for us. That used to be, for some of you, that was body parser. Body parser used to be separate from Express. It was an Express package. They finally just integrated the two. They realized there's no reason to keep them separate anymore. So they put them together. Now we don't need a body parser anymore. This always makes sure that if you didn't actually create the process.env port system, it's just you want to put that in there, especially when we start uploading this to locations like Heroku or AWS or anything like that. You just want to make sure this environment variable is already set up because that's what's going to be used. So
It's not a constant.
it is kind of. It's an environment variable. Oh, true. I really should do const, but it worked. JavaScript will help you out a lot of times. That's JavaScript being friendly.
You don't have to technically use const or let, it just lets you.
It'll do var if you don't, though, and then make it pseudo global. So definitely use const and let if you're ever doing any JavaScript in an interview. Use const, use let, avoid var.
Do we use mongoose?
Why would we do that? We're not doing anything database related, are we?
Oh, what am I talking about?
We're not doing any database yet, though, are we? Does the gateway connect to any database?
No.
It does not connect to a database, so our gateway doesn't need a database system. So this is all we know for the gateway right now. We know the gateway will connect to other systems right now, but we don't know how yet, so this is the gateway for the moment. We're just going to leave the gateway like this. So you can minimize it, keep it up, whatever you want to do. I'm going to go back to my terminal, though. Yes, NodeMon. I do like having that, actually. Let's do that. So if you're using, again, NPM, just add the -D. That's all you need. -D for NPM. So dash capital D. That'll make it a dev dependency. For yarn, it's yarn add nodemon -D. Again, almost identical. The only thing difference is npm I instead of yarn add. That's it. I do nodemon as a development dependency, not globally, because I don't like having this installed globally. The way to run it now, the problem is by doing that, I don't actually have access to the nodemon command. So I can't run this. it's going to tell me because I probably did install it. Damn you. I probably do have NodeMon installed globally, even though I meant to delete it. I do install it like that, so then all I do here is under package.json, I want to run a script here. Do server.
npmi-d nodemon.
Yeah. That way it gets added as a dev dependency. Capital D, if I remember correctly.
Yep, got it.
Good, okay. So the last thing I'm going to add after I added that, open up my package.json file, and I'm going to just do server nodemon server.js. So I'm going to add that for me to make it a little easier on me. This will run the local nodemon with server.js. I mean, sorry, this will run the dev dependency nodemon, not my globally installed nodemon. So anyway. Now to run this, again, for you it's npm run server. For me it's just yarn run server. So you would just replace yarn with npm. Oh, I didn't save. There we go. And again, very, very little difference between yarn and npm. So npm run server, yarn run server. In order for that to work again, you just have to have the server script in your scripts item under package.json. All right? All good. So this is our gateway for the moment. We have NodeMon installed, it's ready to go, so we're going to leave this up and running for the time being, but we're not going to do anything with this anymore for the time being. We got to set up the microservice that the gateway will communicate with. We need to know, we're going to again set it up in a back-end kind of way. We'll let the auth microservice set up its systems, and then the gateway will work around what the microservice decides to do. Make sense? So we're going to build the microservice and then connect the gateway to it. So let's go back to our terminal. I'm going to back up, and I'm going to go ahead and cd into auth. And I'm going to open up my editor again. So now I have my auth server and my gateway server. So there's my gateway. This is my auth. Control-Shift-tilde, get my terminal open.
These
So
are not in the same folder.
no, they're in different folders. They're in the same root folder, so if I cd ... I have the MS walkthrough, but yeah.
Put them all in like Brainhive. You have one folder that's auth and one is gateway. That's
Yes, exactly. Yep, that's fine. Because they're still part of the same project, so they should be in the same root folder, but they should, again, they're separate programs, they're separate applications, so they should be in their own, they should be initialized in their own item. So let me make sure I'm still there so I don't lose myself. So now for the real challenge. We want to create the exact same thing that we just did with the gateway with this now. So I'm also going to do npm init. We're just going to leave this as auth. Authorization microservice for npern walkthrough. Again, it's a server, so server.js is my entry point. That's my preference. Author, here, IV.
I'm like behind.
All right, I can slow down a little bit.
Huh?
I'll slow down a little bit.
When you switched over to the other terminal, I'm assuming that's stuff from.
So yeah, kind of, yeah. All we did in here was, this is whatever terminal you use to create the folders, gateway and auth, I just went back to that, cd'd out of gateway, cd'd into auth, and then open up my Visual Studio Code. So I just have 2 windows of Visual Studio Code, that's all. So I have gateway.
So I can just open another VS Code terminal and
Yeah.
what's the command next?
So remember, if you have it, you definitely should have the term code enabled in your terminal.
Yep.
And so all I did was, from when we first went to the gateway, I did code dot, which opened up one window of Visual Studio Code. I then backed up, went into the auth folder, and code dot there. That's why I have 2 open now. So I have 2. Yep. You did run this command, right?
Oh no.
So you should have a walkthrough folder, your root folder. You have the gateway folder and the auth folder.
No. I'm like.
How bad are you, I think? Do you want to try to fix it, or?
I just have like a gate folder that says. I was, remembering what you were doing, but I didn't like catch all the details. But I know you created a folder for gateway microservice. So I'm missing.
So just back up one server, back up one folder, and do the mkdir auth. That's all.
Should I be opening another VS Code window?
No, you should have just the terminal open, not even Visual Studio Code terminal, just a normal terminal. So either so if you're on Windows, either Git Bash or the Unix emulator terminal, one of those two.
All right, hold on.
Yep. Even command prompt would work. Go ahead.
If you're gonna have all this on the video, right?
Yes.
And you're gonna make this available.
100%.
Like I'm getting everything also.
No worries. Yeah, it'll be on the video.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't want to spend too much time going into the nitty-gritty of JavaScript since some of you have already done it before. So I am moving a little quicker than normal. Like I said, we have the video going up, so you'll be able to watch that again. If you need to slow it down, you can. Do your best, I guess, is what I can say. I'm going to try to go as slow as I can, but I also don't want to keep you guys up here till 10 o'clock at night. So I figured you would appreciate that. So.
I do.
So if you get really far behind, if you have to, you can stop trying to code along now, and you can always try to code along with the video too. So
Okay, so now that I'm in auth,
we did the npm init,
okay.
and I just filled out the items. Again, you can honestly leave description and author blank for now. You can fill those in later. So just main thing is just the entry point server.js. That's the one that matters. This is the only real item that actually matters when we were doing the npm init.
Alright, so are we basically doing the same thing for server.js and auth that we did?
Yeah, let's do the exact same thing. We'll even do the database after we do the basics. So just add the exact same things we just did, except Axios. We don't need Axios in this. So this server will not be pinging out to other servers. So this one we just need yarn, add, express, and cores. I'll add in another couple of packages in a second, but let's just start with this first and get our base up and running. So express and cores. Code server.js. And again, try to do as much, see how much you can do without watching me line by line to see if you can create the 7 lines of code that will get this up and running.
Do you need Axios for this or
No Axios needed.
Okay.
Just express and cores for now. I'm going to add in some couple packages later on, but now express and cores and do the exact same thing we just did on Gateway in server.js here as well. So we're going to do the exact same code, except this time, one quick thing, hold on, before you ask, there's one change, the port number. Do 6010. Go ahead.
What's the number? What's the port number going to be?
I'm going to do 6010. 6010.
Yeah. All right. Oh, I was going to say, what's the command to remove dependency?
Yarn remove. So yarn remove. So if I do yarn add Axios, yarn remove Axios. Done. So
I was like, is it delete?
yeah, no, it's remove. Same concept, add remove instead of install delete. They use the more Englishy words of add and remove. So require express const app equal express. Yeah. Const cores equals require cores. Dot use cores. Dot use express dot JSON. Port equals process dot env dot port or 6010. Remember that 6010. I'm good to go. Yeah. Remind yourself, 7 total lines. That's all you need. Oh, I did it again, trying to write quick. All right. For those who are still typing, keep going. I'm going to talk about some of the other things that this server is going to do. So the tasks that this server is going to handle. So let me do this quick. Okay, that was weird. Lag. Nope, that was not what I wanted. That. So what is this application going to do? It's going to manage the authorization database. The authorization, and we're going to use Postgres on this one. Database. Handle post and get for user accounts. Posting, yeah, handle creating and logging in users. Handle creating, getting, and updating profiles. So those are the 3 things this thing is going to do. It's going to manage the authorization Postgres database, and it's going to handle creating and logging in users. Now you don't need to type out this file here, the readme.md. This is mostly for me, for you, to kind of keep. This is a way for me to slow myself down while the rest of you catch up on the code. So let me do this actually, in case you're coding along. So the readme.md is kind of a file for me to slow down. So for those of you who are taking a little long to type up the actual JavaScript, focus on that. Ignore the readme.md. You can get that later. That is not an important item to make the application work. So you don't have to code along the readme.md. So for those who are not typing the file, now that we know the tasks, does anyone know any other packages we might need? Does anyone actually know them?
They have some kind of authorization.
Right, so we're going to actually use JSON Web Token for that.
Sure.
Nice simple one, very simple, very easy to use, but also very powerful. It actually works. Any others we know of?
Passport.
We could use Passport, but since we're not going to do anything complicated, we can actually bypass it. If you want to use Passport, go ahead. I'm going to not use it this time just because I want to showcase middleware. What was that? Salt, that's actually built in. Well, Salt is not built in, but it's part of another package, but you're right. Bcrypt is part of the Bcrypt package. So yes, Bcrypt gives us our Salt capability. And it also hashes our passwords. And the last one that you guys might not know is we need something to communicate with Postgres, PG. That's it. It's a bit simple, huh? It's a very simple project name, PG. So we can at least be happy that we don't have any sort of complicated name for our system. So that's all we need. JSON Web Token, Bcrypt, and PG are the other additional items. So let's first do the one we all know that we want to have, which is NodeMon. So let's do that one first. And add NodeMon -d. I'm going to add the dev dependency first. So you always want to do those 2 different commands separately. Do your NodeMon command separately, because that's the dev command one, and then do the other 3 as part of a normal item. Yarn add JSON Web Token, Bcrypt, and PG.
Oh man, I kind of went ahead and installed them all 3 together. So how would I uninstall?
Which one?
npm uninstall and NodeMon.
Oh, you installed NodeMon as a non-dev. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Is there a way to tag it as a dev?
-d, capital D. Yeah, dash capital D. Yep. So npm I -capital D NodeMon. Yep. You want your package.json to look like this. That's how you want your package.json to look.
with the same script server?
We're gonna do that too. Yep. But make sure your package.json looks like this before you add the script tag. Then we're gonna do server nodemon server.js. Cool. All right. Let's set up our database. So now we're gonna do that. All right. Fun stuff. Go ahead and open up a Google Chrome, new window. Let's not do that. Let's make it bigger so you can all see. All right, that works. I don't know how I did that. All right. So I'm going to do again Azure PostgreSQL Access. Not that, just PostgreSQL. Yep. There you go. Now, preferably, since we tried Skype a couple days ago, you should have a Microsoft account now. So I should have had you guys do this earlier because it needs a credit card access. Ah, shoot.
I created one already.
Yeah. You'll want to do your start free. I didn't think of this. Yeah, I didn't think of that. You technically need to put a credit card on file, like you have to do with Azure, with AWS as well. So yeah, AWS and Azure require a credit card on file. They will not charge it even after the 30 days. They will not charge unless you approve or authorize payments. So they just use that as a way to validate that you're human and not a bot. Because if your program does something bad, they can track it down to a person with a credit card. They're like, hey, there's a human on this, that we can at least charge them with a crime. So if you do something bad with this on a free tier, that's kind of the reason that they require the credit card. At least that's my understanding of it. In order to get a credit card, you at least have to have a human entity attached to it. It may not actually be you, but you have to have a human entity. So for those of you who've been a little behind, the rest of you, everyone else gets their Microsoft Azure account set up. So set up your Microsoft Azure account. Once you have it set up, if you need to reach out to me for any code, any of the pages or any of the files that you haven't been able to type out yet, ask me and I can show it. Just go through the process so that you can get into it. I'm going to go to my portal though, because I already have it set up. Now, everyone go through the process. Just pop in. Hopefully you're all okay putting in a credit card. And if you need to go get it quick, that's fine.
It says I'm not eligible for an Azure free account.
Do you already have one?
I guess I did.
I don't know what to do with that.
Maybe I can try doing a different. I didn't need a different Microsoft account though.
Don't know what to do with that. That one I can't help with right now.
I think I did it as well because there was some tutorial that we were following.
I think it was the SQL one.
Try logging into a different account then. See if you have one already. Try logging in instead of creating an account.
You mean but
Log into Azure.
it was more than 30 days ago. It was like 4 months ago.
Right. You could use a different email account. Try that.
I'm not sure.
That's one of the ways I've been getting around a lot of the free tier things because I still need an extra one. I'll just use another email account. Most of these companies don't care because they realize you can't really bring over the stuff with the other account, and it's a hassle to do so. The one thing I will verify is that the level of usage we're going to be doing on this Azure account is that even if we did authorize payment after 30 days, we won't actually hit the actual payments. I've done that on Amazon. I have an Amazon account, not Amazon, sorry, Google. I have a Google account that I have bypassed the 3-month item that they gave. And I authorized it to go ahead and charge, and yet I haven't been charged yet for it because I don't use it enough. There's free tiers even after authorizing payment, but I can understand not wanting to deal with that. So that would be my recommendation, trying to create another account.
Yep, that's what I'm doing right now.
Cool. All right. Does anyone need to see any code that has and you can only ask that if you have your Azure account set up. So right now everybody should be setting up their Azure account.
Where are we in the timeline of this? Are we 30 minutes away or?
I'm hoping. We probably will actually connect at 7 o'clock next time. So, no matter what, I'm
be able to make it the entire way.
all right.
I may have to
Yeah,
go back and look at the videos.
that's fine. Like I said, I'll keep going for where we can stay on as long as we can to get to a certain point, and then the video will be up.
In terms of what information am I trying to get from my Azure account?
Sorry, what?
Well, what information am I trying to get from my Azure account?
Information? I'm not sure what you mean.
I'm just in my Azure account, so that's
Oh, yeah. As long as you're in like this and you see the dashboard screen, that's good. Most likely, Azure, like the Postgres thing, will not be here. It's here for me because I've done it. You just got to search the recess for Postgres, and you'll see that. That's when I'm going next. But yeah, I'm going to do that in a second, a little bit longer, give you a little more time.
Can I see what the screen is again? Click for Azure.
Yep. If you have to do portal.azure.com/#home. Okay, good. How's the Azure process going? Anyone still stuck on it? Having issues?
I'm just adding my credit card now.
Fun part. Yeah, I figured that would be kind of the area. I did just check on it. Now I wouldn't be able to help anyone with the connection string, but if anyone's still having trouble getting on with Microsoft's SQL Server, you can always try to use Elephant SQL. It's kind of like Mongo Atlas, so it's an option. But if you're able to get it, I would definitely recommend getting into Azure because you want to start fiddling with that stuff too. Getting used to Azure, getting used to AWS kind of stuff. So, but if it'll help speed up the process, if anyone's really getting stuck on this part of it, you can always try using Elephant SQL. But if you do that, I wouldn't be able to help with the connection string. So just do be aware of that.
So can I just ask again, like, sort of what we're looking at doing here?
So yeah, I'm going to start actually moving forward probably in a couple seconds. If people need to check the video, they can. Because yeah, I don't want to keep people too long. It's already at 9:14. This took a good 10 minutes away from me. So I'm going to start moving forward. If you have to watch the video, watch the video. I guess we'll have to do learning. Forgot about this part of it. I probably should have had you guys sign up for Azure earlier. So I'll try to go not too fast, but enough to get the stuff. Like I said, you'll have the video to watch. So here we're going to type in, we're going to search for Postgres. And you'll see the little elephant symbol here, right here under services. Click on that. And it's going to bring us to the Azure database for Postgres SQL servers screen. We're going to add a new instance. Single server. Cheap, free, simple. Most likely, if you're actually going to use this later on, you might want to look into this. So, if your server is going to hit over 100 gigs. So, something to look into. But again, keeping it single server for now. You will need to create a resource group. I called mine mpern test. The idea here is that you're able to clump together the servers under a similar name. That way they all pop up. It's really only for billing and stuff like that in organization, so it doesn't really affect it. So just, again, call it the mpern resource group. So I'm going to create a different one just for the actual walkthrough. mpern.
If I have a thing in PG admin already, that should be fine, right?
If you want to do local, that's fine. Like if you have local and you know how to set it up, I'm going to be showcasing how to set up the Azure system. That's what I'm trying to showcase. So you won't be able to follow me word for word, but you'll be able to follow somewhat. Anyway, okay, there. mpern walkthrough. I want to call this mpern demo. No capitals. Got it. Demo. And for the server admin login name, we're going to do mpern auth, I guess, because they won't let you, I don't think I could use admin on there. mpern admin. Oh, it does let me put it in. Good. mpern admin. mpern. Oh, dang it. I knew it. I'm going to do the same thing, just reversed. I wonder if it'll recognize that. NIMDA. Jesus. And that's not going to work, actually. So here's what I'm going to showcase quick. This little website right here is pretty nice. Passwordsgenerator.net. Default settings. Generate password. Oh, sorry. I turn off the symbols because it might need to be URL encodable. I use this setup. I turn off the symbols. And then I just grab this. It's 16 characters long. Nice and secure. Hard to guess. Just make sure you save it somewhere. That way it passes all the tests. So again, I'm going to share this with everyone. Job prep. Do that. So that would be my way to, that would be my recommendation for a password. If you have a password that you can use here that you would like to put in, go ahead. I'm just putting that in because I know I'm going to have to share it on the video later, and I don't want to use any of the passwords I know off the top of my head. So do that. I'm just going to review and create. You don't need to worry about tags, anything else. The only things you're editing here is the resource group, create new. I'm calling it mpern walkthrough. Server name, I'm calling it mpern demo. I recommend the same. mpern admin, and then generate a password or use one of your own. I use this to generate the password. And this. So review and create. Create it. It's going to initialize deployment. This might take about 2 minutes. It doesn't usually take that long. While that sets up, though, let's talk a little bit of SQL. So.
Oh, hell no.
What?
Yeah, I don't know, it says something about average cost. It's not even saying that. You know what? Damn it, man, I need to go back.
Are you saying about the estimated cost per month?
Yeah.
I see that too.
Where do you see that? I didn't see that.
It's 277.20. Wow.
Yeah. Nah, I must have did something wrong. Let me go back.
Share your screen.
Hold on. Let me see.
One of you share your screen. I want to see this. 'Cause I
I'm
didn't
sharing
notice
right
it.
now.
I don't remember seeing that.
Are you sharing, Nate? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sharing. Let me move this out of the way. And I tried to go back, but I'm going to show you where I was. Over here. I know that when I first clicked the button to create an instance, before I could even see if I created an instance, it just automatically went to where hold on, let me see. Beginning to this part. So okay.
Did mine say that and I just didn't notice?
And maybe I should just
I already clicked it too. Oh, great. It says by clicking create, I agree to legal terms with Apple's statement. Authorize my to bill my current payment not for fees associated with the offerings. Uh-oh.
Shouldn't.
okay, so add.
Wait. Right,
And
yeah.
you said
Add.
something about
Single server.
Open, just get
You shouldn't be. One, they can't charge you until they ask you to authorize charging. Because your subscription system is not active.
okay.
Yeah, the subscription is considered as like, yeah, not authorized. Yeah, yeah. If I click on Observe Subscription 1 on that screen there, so on your screen right there, that let's see. Yeah, keep going through. Keep going. Keep going. It's fine. While you do that, actually, hold on. Evan, share yours for a quick second.
oh okay.
Hold on. Evan, share yours for a second.
I'm having a problem. Okay,
Problem?
you talking about this?
Not quite. You said you already did it, right?
I did, but I pressed previous.
That's probably why it's saying validation failed. Go back home or select secure. Like click on. Hold on. Me do. Click on this.
Tag though, right?
No, not that. Sorry. Click home. No, go home. Go home. Your server name's unavailable, so you already used it, I think. Or it's being used because I already used it. But yeah, click on this. No, it didn't create it, so it's not created yet.
Uh-oh.
So let's add. Okay. All right. So this subscription right here, the observed subscription, is what shouldn't be active yet. Yeah, create new. If you guys are concerned about this, like I said, there's another option instead that you could use. If you don't want to use you can either use the local system or do something called SQL, Elephant SQL. I don't know the connection string for that though. But yeah, try this. Go through. Yeah. Yeah, the server name might be unique to the entire Google systems. I mean, the entire Azure system, so you might not be able to use the same name I did.
Mine still says the 272.
Yeah. That's probably expected. But here, actually, I'm going to show my screen quick while he's filling that out again, so you can't see stuff. Let me do this.
Oh, sure.
That should be fine. That is the estimated cost if you didn't have the free system. So I'm going to show you something quick on my screen. Share. So if you look here, take a look at this. Remaining credit expires in 30 days. Upgrade to keep going with your account. So as they've said before during the sign-up system, when you actually looked at it, they will not charge you after the 30 days or even after the credit until you actually authorize payments. If you're concerned about this, you don't want to use it, don't use it. You can either, again, go Postgres local, Or like I said, there's also not that. You can try using this as well. This is the problem that I have. What?
That's what happened when you do the elephant there.
Yeah.
Heartwarming story about a baby elephant taking him down.
Oh. So you can check one of these. Again, my biggest issue that I have is I haven't actually done enough looking here to see what the connection URL is. That's the part I don't know. It might be this thing right here, but I haven't figured out the connection string. That's all. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to move forward. If anyone just wants to watch via the video later so we can get through, so I'm not keeping everyone here till past 10. So I'm going to create a little bit through it. So you can create the files with me. So follow along with the files. So right now what I'm going to do is do a code. I'm going to do, what is it? I'll do database.sql. So this is going to be here I'm going to write is the code we're going to run to create the database. And so first and foremost, when you create the database on any of these services, it's going to create a Postgres database. We don't want to store our data there. So I'm going to do create database and pern auth. I'm going to call it. What I also want to do is, well, I'm not going to do that yet. So now let's create the table. So we're going to create table auth. So this is going to create our database table. Let's see, the keys I want. What's that?
No. Sorry.
Okay. So the fields I want to create is auth ID. I could do AID if you want to keep something nice and short. So let's do that actually. AID. We'll do that. Serial and primary key. What does serial mean?
Up in order.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It'll just do one by one up in a row. I'm going to take username. I'm going to call that a varchar. So there's char, which is a single character, varchar n, and text. So those are the three data types we could use. Text is unlimited. We don't want to do that for username. We want to limit the username so that we don't take up too much space and people don't try to put too much in there. I'm going to say 50. The longest username you can have is 50 characters. If you want to do shorter, go for it. The other thing we want to do is put in the constraints, rules for this field. So I'm going to say this is going to be a unique field, so no two usernames the same, and it's required, which says not null. Right, we know it. So not null. It has to have something in this field. You can't have a null field here. Next, let's add in the obvious password. And again, do another varchar, 50, unique, not null. Now, from my understanding, again, these capitalization isn't necessarily needed, but these are keywords, so they usually go in you'll commonly see them put in capitalized.
Does it need to be unique as a password?
Oh no, I didn't. Whoops. Not that one. Thank you. Good catch. Start getting the flow and the habit. So password.
Why is the password highlighted in blue instead of
It's a recognized word. I'm not sure how, but yeah, the syntaxing recognizes it. So email. So I'm actually going to showcase email as well and showcase that we can use username and get the email and have them both be unique, but yet the person can log in via username. Email, I'm going to do varchar. And I'm actually going to let people create a nice longer username because I know emails can get kind of long. Let's say 200 characters there. We'll again give it unique, not null. So again, we don't want two people with the same email having two different usernames. And this for data. So this is one of the things we want to think about data. What kind of data do we want to store? Also, you know what? I'm going to do this again. So get rid of that, put that over there, get rid of that. We'll save this, but I'm going to get rid of that so I can make sure I have full screen. And why did you do that? There we go. So there we go. It's a little bit easier to see. Okay, email. What?
Bizarro formatting on mine from mine.
Weird. All right. And so the next one, and so again, think about data that we want to capture. We want to capture as much data as possible. It's good to know when these user accounts were created. So a good one to have is created at. This will be a time stamp. Yeah, why my cap lock? Come on. There we go. Timestamp. And I'm going to do timestamp TZ. Does anyone know what TZ does?
Time zone.
Yeah, so it's not just a timestamp, it's a time zone timestamp. So I like that. At the same time, we don't want to have to remember to pass this in when we create it. So we're going to do a default of now. Straightforward, right? So that way we don't have to actually worry about doing the created at during the actual JavaScript code. It'll just automatically put it in. And again, more just good data to have. We're going to add in a last login, timestamp TZ, and that one can be null. Don't forget the semicolon. No semicolon won't work. The Postgres is not like JavaScript. Forget the semicolon, not going to work. We're also going to do the other. Oh, go ahead.
You want to put updated at as well? If anyone
Oh,
wants to.
not planning to let people update the username much, but we can definitely put it in. So we can do updated at. Actually, I'm going to leave it out of auth. I'm not going to worry about the user account because I'm not going to put in a route to change anything in this demo. Since some of you might put in a way to change the password or change the email, you might want to put that in. But for this demo, so I'm not going to allow a edit user route. I'm not going to put it in. It's just not going to be used. So, create table. Now I also going to create the profile table. And in this case, I don't want serial numbers. Why not? Anyone have an idea why I might not want serial numbers in the profile? What's bad about serial numbers? This is a security question that might be good to know.
Maybe it takes off the feed from the AID and increments from that.
Remember, PID, if we do this, serial primary key, so it does need its own personal primary key. And we're also going to do what's called a AID, and this will be the serial references, auth, so like that. And again, we used auth instead of user here because user is reserved in SQL. There is a user table, and those refer to the database users, not to users in your app. So that's why we do a table called auth. So we have AID, and this is how we connect back to the auth table. This one right here. This is your foreign key.
Does it create a subdocument there? Is that basically what it does? Or?
It's similar, but this is actually different. It's a join. It's called a foreign key, not a subdocument.
Okay, so this is a join.
Yep.
Statement.
Again, the term is called foreign key. You can use a join command on foreign keys. So join is a command. So yeah, this would be called a foreign key. Anyway, so yeah. So what could be a problem with serial? Because if you want to access a certain user, you would use the PID to access that user, right? To get that user's profile or to get that profile. So this is going to be an ID that's going to be in our front end at some point. At some point, this number here is going to be on the front end. We're going to be able to use that to pull profiles. What can be dangerous about this being a serial? What could be a problem with that?
Yes.
They can access all the other users.
Possibly, yeah. Very easily. You could program it. You can program a scraper, just go up by one. Hey, if this number has a profile, pull the data. Go up one. Profile, yep, pull the data. And so there's a system known as UUID. That's kind of the easiest thing to do. And so as part of the creation process, I want to bring in the UUID extension. So I'm going to do create extension. If not exists. And this key item there is make sure that if it's already been pre-installed, like some of your servers you may use, they may pre-install this extension. You don't want to install it more than once. So you're going to create the extension. If it not exists, I'm going to do UUID-OSSP. That's the most common PostgreSQL extension, and so this command should work easily for anyone, especially using the Azure system. This command will run to make sure that the extension works. And so we're going to change here, we're going to change serial to UUID data type, and we're going to have it do a default function. And so we're going to say primary key UUID generate v4. And this just is the most recent version of the UUIDs to create very unique numbers. So, That's how we're going to change that one. So the other items we'll add in, first name. Sorry, what?
Is extension spelled that way?
Yeah. That's kind of like the require system.
Yeah. No, it just looks.
It shouldn't be an S between.
Oh, I did spell it wrong. There should be a T there. Oh no, extension. Yeah, that.
I know. It's just looking at it. Like, yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yep, the T was wrong. Thank you.
Oh,
Extension. Yeah,
You forgot a comma after all.
I do. Oh, I do. Thank y'all. So first name varchar, going 50. That last name varchar 50. We'll go ahead and we'll bring in an avatar. And so this one would be a URL. Those can be pretty long. So you could limit the length of a URL, but that can be tricky. So for this one, I would do either a varchar with no number in there, or just honestly, I would just do text. This way it can be unlimited length. You might want to limit it in case situations. So I've seen people do varchar 355 or something like that as a nice way of saying, hey, if it's too long in this, you're loading this from somewhere weird, put it somewhere else. At least the URL is kind of weird. So really, if you're using like any of the built-in like URL, like file storage systems from like Azure or Google or AWS, this length should be fine for a public URL from one of those file storage systems that the cloud-based systems use. If you want to play it safe, just use text. Do that. And I'm also going to do GitHub. And this one I'm going to do, again, a varchar of 50. I don't think GitHub lets you use a username more than 50 characters. I guess we can always check that later and update this. GitHub, and then cohort. We'll just do that as a varchar 8. So that's 8 characters for a cohort number. That's a lot of cohorts. So. And then the last two we want. This one we're going to do the created at. Timestamp TZ, not null, and now. Updated at. Yep, not null, and we're going to default that to now because the very first time it's updated is when it's created. So at the creation, created at and updated at are the same. And I forgot the word default. There we go. So it's going to create our table profile. Now the key item here that you're going to find out is that these don't get updated automatically. Sorry, this one won't get updated automatically. There is a way to access a function that we can do. I'm going to show that on a different day, but we'll set that up to where that'll get updated automatically in a later time. But for now, we're going to skip that part. But what I want to paste in here is some very important commands that you might want to remember to help you out in case you make mistakes. So let's say we want to change some things. So these are, go ahead.
all right. So line 21.
Yes.
If you wanted to create an enum, how would you do that?
I'd have to double check because I don't really use that in SQL. I don't think SQL does enums. You would do an integer and you would have the JavaScript system handle the changeover. So yeah, I don't think PostgreSQL has enums, if I'm right. Let's see. I know they have the key value pair system. What are the data types again? I had them listed somewhere. I pulled them up because I knew there was going to be a question of what data types do we have available. PostgreSQL data types. Yeah, they have, what data types do they have? Oh yeah, they have like big int, big serial. Do they have enum? I don't see enum. Yeah, there's no enum built into the system. Not to say you could create an enum, but it's not built into Postgres, so Postgres wouldn't do the conversion for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to, you could definitely just do a Google search Postgres SQL data types. Take a look. There's a good number of them, but yeah. Anyway. Good question. Yeah, cohort is going to be a number anyway, so we have currently cohorts well, we've had cohorts from 1 up to 10. This is saying we can have 8 characters long, so that's a million? Or is that 10 million? I don't know. That's a lot of cohorts. We could honestly probably put that down to 4, so we can have up to cohort 9,999. So it's not a big deal, but yeah. I just figured, thinking into the future, we could have a lot of cohorts. We could also even then change, if we do end up hitting 8 characters long, we can start adding in characters. So it's fine. And again, so these are some commands you might want to keep in mind if you want to be able to change things. So you can alter the table, you can alter a column. So if any of these columns you realize, hey, I need to change the data type, the varchar. If you want to increase the varchar, you can use alter column, type, new data type. So you can do varchar 100. So let's say you need to update GitHub to take 65 characters. Let's say that's the maximum value for a GitHub username. You can use alter table profile, alter column GitHub, type varchar 60, and that'll change it. You can add in the default, so you can do alter column set default, and then you can do default now. So if you need to add that what it does is it changes the default for future inserts. Any old inserts, any old data will not have the new default value, so you'd have to do that differently. So do be aware of that. Last up, you can even add some constraints or adding another column in there. So these are some really useful commands that are good for when you add things. And this is going to be one of those ones we're probably going to end up doing with our profile anyway. We might need to add more values to our table, so to our profile. So these are good commands to have. Like I said, I'll be posting this stuff to a repo in GitHub as well, so you'll be able to look at these later. So don't worry about that too much. You'll have access to this code as well. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to load up not here, I want this. So let's go back to, not test off, right, that one? No. Back here. Why does it feel like I didn't get the other one created? Oh, there it is. Okay, we did. So I'm going to click on this one now. And what I need to do here is just set it up so I can connect to it. So when you, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to just hide that sidebar. Anyway, that's fine. I can leave the sidebar open. So for connecting to the Microsoft Azure system, first thing you need to do is go to the connection security, and bare minimum, you have to click this one. This will allow you to connect to it from here. Now, there's a chance that you might go visit like a family member or something like that. Not likely right now, but if you don't want to have to worry about your IP address possibly changing, you can add this for the time being. This will make your database publicly available to anyone with the URL, username, and password. I'm going to do that now. It's fine. So we're going to add that so I don't have to worry about dealing with IP addresses. Look at that. That's it. Once you have that, you can just come into the connection string. Wait, sorry, forgot to save. Save it first. Connection string, and then we're going to use this one right here first, this pSQL one, to start. So I can connect to it and run my SQL commands. So back to auth. Paste that in. First thing I need to change is the database name is going to start as PostgreSQL, or Postgres. So like that. And then the password, I'm going to pull it from that website because I didn't close it. That's why I didn't get rid of it. Here. Still got that right there. Copy that. Paste that in. And there we go. If you see this, you're in. So that's what you want to see.
You see Postgres.
You see the Postgres arrow and the hash rocket. Yeah, the arrow rocket, or whatever we're going to call it. And then we're just going to run these commands down the line. Oh, forgot the semicolon there. So I'm going to copy this line, paste that in there, hit enter. We should see it say create database. Now I do need to do /d, I want to say, and turn off. I want to change that database. How did I change the database again? Oh, I know the command. It's going to bother me. Is it /db? Maybe /db. No. What was it? Trying to remember. PSQL change database. What was it? Oh, right, /c to connect. Right, /c connect to the database mpern auth. There we go. I forgot about that. Yeah, connect. Right, connected to the database mpern auth. And so now we're in mpern auth. I'm going to go ahead and do the extension. Do it again. Yep, how do I do? Oh, that should work. Oh, did I type wrong? Oh, double quotes. It's a little weird because you need double quotes in certain spots and single quotes in other spots. There it goes. Create the table. And if I do TD or T, no. Trying to remember all these commands is tricky sometimes. There's
Weird
/q.
reformatting stuff that I just whatever. I'll figure it out. Like if it fucks it up, it fucks it up.
Okay.
We'll figure it out later.
Not /q. What do I want? Alright. It's fine. Trying to remember some of these commands. Oh, that's too many. Alright, that's fine. I'll have to remember some. I can't remember some of these commands by heart yet. I don't use them a lot, so that's why I don't know them by heart. Well, that was probably a bad idea to go. Oh, actually, that's kind of what I wanted. List table. I did do that. /d. Oh, what? That's more than I expected. It's fine. All right. So anyway, do this next. I thought so. I had the non-right character there. So do that again. No, didn't like it. Why not? Oh, we're running a function, by the way, so we do need the parentheses, and they actually prefer spaces. So yet add a parenthesis. Still doesn't like it. Why not? Do I forget the default command? I think I forgot the word default. Yeah, I think I did need that. Yep, I did. Right? So what I need to do is add in the default and add in the parentheses. Make sure it runs the function. So there we go. Got table. So do /d. You see we have auth and we have profile. I select file from auth. I've got the semicolon. It doesn't show anything because we have nothing there. Do I want to insert myself automatically? Nah. Alright. So that's basically what we needed there first. I'm going to go ahead and do not /q yet. I'll actually leave it open. Let's do one route today, and then we'll do the rest on Wednesday, actually. So this took a little longer than I expected. But at least you guys can get this part done, get your skeleton set up, get everything configured, and we can actually do a lot of the routes tomorrow. So let me do one last quick thing. Is it going to be quick, actually? It should be. Let's try. .post /regress. Let's do that. And then we're just going to do a fine. Also, we're going to do a lot of async, so async, and do try and catch. Console error. Yeah. Run a message, and then response.status 500 JSON error. Simple, right? Ooh, wait, I want to do this. Errors, error. Just be okay. Just understand that that's what we want to do. There's a reason for that later on. We want to do errors, error. This is our key item that our gateway is going to look for. Whenever we get a response back from a microservice, it's going to look to see if the response contains the word errors in it. If it sees the word errors, it's going to assume that the microservice had a problem and is going to return whatever it got as an error. So we want to use errors. What's that?
An array.
It's a object.
Yeah.
And it's going to return an object. So that's an object as well. Do that. And then the try, we're going to do, the first thing we want to do is const. We're going to pull out the username and email from the body as const. So username and email, request.body. Yeah, I've got the equal sign. So we're going to deconstruct, deconstruct those, and we're going to also do a let deconstruction of password equals request.body, because we do want to update the password to the encrypted version. So let's do that next. Salt equals await decrypt.gen salt, which I didn't bring in. So let's bring that in. I'm going to bring in bcrypt. Gen salt, I'm just going to give it 10 cycles. Const password equals await bcrypt.hash password comma salt. That'll give us our encrypted password. So what we're going to do next is we're actually going to go ahead and create the user for the time being. We are going to add in some logic later to say, hey, is there a user already existing with this username and password? For now, let's just do it because we know there's nothing in it yet. So let new user equals await, and that's something we didn't set up yet. All right. We need to create the pool, so we need to actually connect to the database. I forgot about that. So code db.js. I'm going to create a new file called db.js that's going to handle the connection system. Let's do that. You know, we'll do this. We'll do the route on Wednesday because it's already almost 10 o'clock. So we'll do the route on Wednesday, actually. So this will be the last thing we do. So in here, we're just going to do, we're going to actually bring in the PG library, but we're going to bring in something called pool from the library. This is the type of connection. There's client and there's pool. Pool is the better one to use. It actually does a connection pool, so it can cycle through available connections as available. So it's a much better system to use. pg.pool const. And then the next thing I'm going to create actually is also a file for all of our database data. So let's do this as well. So mkdir config code config / default.js. So this is where we're going to put in all our, actually, you know what? Let's do that on Wednesday. We'll actually secure everything Wednesday. So we'll do the security bit on Wednesday too. So I don't know if I do that Wednesday, you'll see, I'll extract all the security stuff before I put it up on GitHub. So it's fine. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, let's do this. All right, it's fine.
Also, it looks like the Azure thing is good. You don't have to pay for it.
Thought so. Pool user. I'm going to do here, I'm going to /q here and just hit up so I can get the information I need. So I need this as the user. My password is going to be this thing right here. My host is going to be this right here, the mpern demo, all the way down to the com. And I can actually pull this over so you can see it a little nicer. So this bit right here is the host. We're going to do port as the default port, 5432. I'll put the comma. And database. That again
Where'd you get
is
the password again? Just out of curiosity.
right here.
Oh,
My
it's
connection
in
string.
the
Yep,
connection
it's everything.
string.
Everything I need is in here. There's my database name. My database name is not Postgres. It's what? mperm auth is what I did. So I'm going to do mperm auth. And last but not least, we need SSL required. All right, that's your pool. I'm just going to module.exports pool. We're going to export that item.
You're just deconstructing the connection string, right? Basically.
Pretty much. Yeah, I just pulled apart the connection string so that PG can use the same thing. So it needs pretty much all the same data. I think I actually used it all, yeah. Host, port, DB name, user, password, and SSL mode. Yeah, we took everything out. We took everything that was in there and just reused it. So I did that. I'm going to bring that in. Const pool equals require DB. Bring that in. And let's finish this up. Finally. What was I looking up? Where was I? So we're going to do the let new user equals await pool.query. And this is where you actually have to know SQL script. You cannot, there's no mongoose find or anything like that. You actually have to know your SQL. You insert into auth username, password, email. Values, $1, $2, $3. And we'll use returning star. The returning star will actually have it return the new item created. If you don't include the returning star, it will not give you the item you created. It will just create it for you. And then we need to add those values by doing a comma and then an array of values. $1 is index 0, $2 is index 1, index 2. So here we're going to do, very simply, username, password, email. That's it. Straightforward, right?
Yeah, I mean, remember that from the scraper.
Yeah.
Actually straightforward.
Pretty straightforward. All I'm going to do here is, so I did this as a let because what it's going to return is a bunch of data and something called rows. And our user is going to be in that row 0. I'm going to do new user equals new user.rows 0. Just so I don't have to keep typing rows 0. I don't want to have to keep typing that. So I just want that. Finish up with response.json new user. That's our first route. That's going to start us off. We'll do more on Wednesday just to see it actually working. I bring over Postman quick. Let's bring that over quick. Make sure it actually is running. So it's not running yet, so let's do this quick. I'm going to go ahead and do yarn run server. Ah, dang it. Oh, I did const password for some reason there. 17 did not have the word const. Just want to be password because we're overwriting this one. That's all. Yeah, now it's working. Okay, so now we're listening. So I'm going to go over here to Postman. There it is. HTTP //localhost 6010 because we're connecting to the auth server directly. Yeah, we're actually going to, for testing the auth server, we're going to connect to the auth server directly. Any user would not know this port, so only the gateway would know this port. But for now, we're going to use it so we can test the auth microservice directly. And I think we just did the default route. Yep, default route. So just that. Change this to a post. Go to body raw JSON. That should automatically add in the header. Does it? I thought it did. Nope, it didn't. All right, fine. In that case, I will do it myself. Hide. Content type. JSON. You want to have that in there. Yeah, this one's a little small. Oh, I can make it bigger. Nice. So I did that. Content type, application JSON. Username. Clip1. Password. Tester. Email. Clip1@test.com. Fingers crossed. Does everything work? Afraid of that.
You have to export.
Did I do a type of character? What? It's saying character items too long for a character. Value too long for type character varying 50. What value is too long? Oh, right, password. I did character 50 again. Dumb me. I actually was going to skip that little bit, but I forgot to do that. So the thing about password is that the bcrypt system actually creates a 60 character length. So we're actually going to get to see that change. So do this. Dang it. Do that this time. Database name. And turn off. Go. So alter table auth alter column. That was password. Set nope. Type varchar, and I just set it to 100 to make my life easier. Semicolon. So there we go. /q. Join run server. Send, and there it is. We have a user. And just to prove it, we'll kill it. We'll go back to the SQL server. Select star from off. Semicolon. There it is.
There you go.
Too much setup that I forgot to do. So, yep.
The database.sql file, does that command update that as well?
No, I'm not actually running this. This was for us to type it out, so we have it saved, so that we have reference.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yep.
You're right.
So this is just for us to reference, and it can help me. It's a great place for me to type out my code outside of this. Typing this all here is very annoying and can be very easy for me to mess up. If I type it here, then I can just copy and paste it down here. So none of this code actually gets run. It's what I'm going to be running myself later on. So
Unless you press highlight and hit enter, right? No?
that doesn't work in Visual Studio Code.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I have to copy it into the PSQL shell, so that'll run it for me.
Okay.
All right, so we'll finish with that up. Nothing really to do it right now for a challenge. My challenge for everyone is to get yourself to get a version of this working locally. So make sure that you can post your own user to a database, to a PostgreSQL database. Use Azure, use AWS, use Google Cloud. I don't care which way you get a PostgreSQL server up. You can use Elephant SQL. Just make sure you can connect to it and you can get this code to work. Like I said, I'm going to be posting up the code on GitHub in a bit. I'm going to go ahead and, I can't post this code as is. What I am going to do a little bit extra on the video is create a config file. So you'll be able to see that at the end of the video, how to create the config file, because I'm not uploading my code of this stuff. I don't want this on GitHub, so I'm not loading that to GitHub. So it's going to be replaced by a config default.js file where you'll be able to put your code. Make sense?
Yep.
So again, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that in the video after you guys all get off. So then I'll upload this to YouTube and I will share it out as a unlisted URL. So, all right, and it'll also go up to GitHub. Yeah. So your challenge for Wednesday, your challenge for Wednesday will be get a working version of this up and running for Wednesday night. All right. So get a working version of this ready for Wednesday night. That'll be good. Go ahead.
This video will be ready when?
I'm going to start uploading it tonight. So I'll be able to share the URL while it processes, so tomorrow morning you'll be able to start coding. All right, any other questions?
Can I have a minute?
Of what? I'm going to be still recording. I can contact you after I finish my recordings.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll reach out after I finish the recording. All right?
All right.
Cool.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. See everyone tomorrow.
Okay, see you.
Guys.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you.
Thanks, Cliff.
Bye. Good
Bye.
night.
Have a
Good night.
All right, everybody.
Stop share and meeting. All right, so for those, now that you're watching the rest of the video, just again, I'm going to showcase a quick way to get all this stuff into a config file, like here, and so you can see how the config file will be laid out and how you'll use it. So bring this over here quick. Do code config/default.js. So have that open, and we're just going to export a object, nice and simple. Nothing too fancy, nothing too complicated. So we're just going to do module.exports equals this. Do db host. And again, we're just going to use /q. Use this again. So I'm going to go ahead and grab. Actually, this one we're going to do here is just drag this over here. Actually, let's do it in order. db user. Grab that. Paste. db password. db password. Grab this one. Copy, paste. db host. Copy. Paste. Oop, that was too much. Paste. db database. And last but not least, actually that's it. Good. So got those four, and now we're just going to switch this over. We're going to do const config equals require /config/default. And I can just switch these over. So this one first, config.db user, config.db password, config.db host, .db database. Save that. That way we still have it working, even though it's separate. Touch it. Code.get ignore. Go ahead and pull up the default code for a node, get ignore. With the defaults, top, and just go ahead and add in /config. We'll make sure that's included as well. So get status now. All right, I haven't done that yet. cd cd off. Git init. There we go. We see the config folder is not included. That's what we want. And neither is the node modules. And -a, hit -m. I'll push that in a second. I'm also going to do the same thing over here to my gateway. Scale that. Git init. Add -a. Oop, no. Okay, do that first. Do code.ignore. I'm actually just going to use the same get ignore because I'm probably most likely going to create a config file in this one too. So highlight all of this, copy, and paste. Save it. Good. Git add -a, commit -m, initial commit. Good. All right, so pay attention classroom. This video will go up. Your challenge again. Your challenge is to get this functioning and share with me your repo of what you've created. So I want to see the repo of your 2 items. And so what we're going to actually do here, though, is I'm actually going to create a second repo. So you're also going to do this. So cd dot dot. I want to do mkdir repo get init code read.md, and then here I'm actually just going to create links to the other 2 repos, because these other 2 repos are 2 separate ones, so this is going to be a repo that links to the other 2 repos. So when I want to share this project, I want to share this repo, and so I'm going to create the 2 links here. So be on the lookout for that. I'll be creating a README with 2 URLs that will link to the code you need. So I will share that in the classroom. Everyone, have a good night. I will talk to you later.